Hi, my name is Mia and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is our puppy Leaf for everyone who's new here. And as of me filming this, it is now August 1st and I have read quite a few amazing books last month, in the month of July. So I cannot wait to go ahead and tell you all about them, to maybe inspire you to pick up one of these books yourselves if you're interested. And these are all the physical books that I read this month, well, last month. And I also read 3 really good audiobooks as well. So without further ado, let me go ahead and tell you all about these, what they're about and what I thought of them. Now the first book on this pile is called Small Things Like These by Claire Keegan, and small definitely is appropriate here because this book is just 116 pages, so a really small book, but it definitely packs a punch. I've really enjoyed reading it. It takes place in 1985 in a small Irish town. It's about the day-to-day life of a coal merchant who, through his job, discovers the dark side of the Magdalene Laundry. And if you are familiar with Irish history, then the Magdalene Laundry will be quite familiar to you. It's a very dark chapter of Irish history, and this book tells you all about it, and I really enjoyed it. Alright, next up on this pile is The Last Lecture by Randy Pausch, and again, it's quite the short book. It reads really well. Now, Randy Pausch was diagnosed with terminal cancer, and he decided to write this book as kind of like a gift to his children, as they were still very young when he died. And he writes about all kinds of life experiences and lectures in that sense, and lecture fits very well because he was an academic, so he's no stranger to lectures. And I've really enjoyed this book. Some very inspiring thoughts were written in here. Leafy! Leaf keeps licking me, I don't know why. Right. Next book on this pile is Take My Hand by Jolene Perkins Valdez, and my goodness, was this a great book. Leaf! Stop licking me. I'm trying to tell the people about the books. They don't want to hear you licking me the whole time. Okay, back to the book. Take My Hand was such an incredible book. It is really well written. It is easy to read, even though it is about quite the intense topic. It is about a black nurse in Montgomery, Alabama, which happens to be only about an hour and a half south of where we live now. And she discovers the injustice around healthcare for poor black women and girls, about some experimental birth control that was not FDA approved but still administered to women and children, girls, and about wrongful sterilization. It also touches on Roe versus Wade. So a very important book, and I think very appropriate for the current political landscape that we're in. The book plays in 1973, and a strong recommendation, honestly, for anyone. This was such a good book. Alright, next up we have Shuggie Bain by Douglas Stewart, and this was such a sad book. This book definitely comes with a ton of trigger warnings. It's about a boy growing up with an alcoholic mother in Glasgow, Scotland, and just all the hardships that come with that kind of life. besides the alcoholism, there's a lot of other mental issues being discussed in this book. Again, it's really well written, but definitely for mentally strong people, I would say, because this will crush you. One thing I really found enjoyable about this book is that it's actually written in like a Glasgow Scottish accent, so that made it a little bit slower for me to read since I'm not used to that. But it was fun to like sound it out in my head, figure out what all the words mean, and yeah, very, very good book, but very, very sad. All right. Next up, we have Beautiful Country by Qian-Julie Wang. I probably did not pronounce her name right, but this book is a memoir, and as it says on the title, it's about her undocumented childhood. So her and her family immigrated to America, undocumented, illegally. They moved to New York City in the 90s, and yeah, as you can imagine, once again, there's a lot of hardship coming from that background. Not a lot of job opportunities. It talks about a lot of poverty in here as well. And but in the end, it's also a very hopeful memoir, as Julie Wang manages to find her path, find her purpose, and make it out of that poverty and actually become a lawyer. So very, very good book as well. Alright, and the last book I have here physically is called A Tale for the Time Being by Ruth Ozeki. And once again, we're back in Asia. It's about a Japanese girl who wrote a diary during quite the turbulent time in her life. She had just moved from America back to her family's homeland of Japan. She's struggling in school, struggling in family life as her dad is suicidal and she also becomes suicidal. And she kind of finds hope and refuge in Buddhist teachings, as her grandma is a Buddhist monk. And the diary is actually found by an American living on a small island in Vancouver, Canada. And you kind of get these two parallel stories of two very different people, and I don't know, this book was so interesting. It has so many unexpected twists and turns, which I have found to be quite a common thing in Japanese literature. Ruth Ozeki herself is American Japanese, so if you've never read a book from a different culture or country, I highly recommend you pick one up. Pick this one up. Honestly, it's so good. Really, really interesting. And that is all the physical books I had read, but I told you that I also read 3 very, very good audiobooks. Okay, the first book I listened to was Piranesi by Susanna Clarke, and this book is like impossible to put into words without spoiling the whole plot, so I guess you're just gonna have to take my word for it when I tell you that this was an amazing book. It was such a creative storyline, very like alternative way of writing, something I have never really read before. And I guess I could tell you like half the story because that's what's on the blurb. But it's about this man called Piranesi who's living in this like labyrinth of a house with really only contact to one other person. And the house has all these different rooms with different statues in it, and the remains of other people, so there are hints at the existence of other people. But the ending is just a complete turn of events, will make you question the entirety of the book, and it is just so interesting. So again, I can highly recommend that you pick that book up and give it a read. I'm so sorry that there's really not much more I can say about it, because this is only half the story really, but if I were to tell you any more, then I'd give away the whole book and that wouldn't be fair, because I want you to be able to experience it for yourself. The next audiobook, again, takes us back to Asia. I listened to Pachinko, which is a multi-generational story of Koreans, and it plays, over the course of the Japanese invasion, World War II, lots of historical events that really changed the landscape of life in Korea and Japan. Half of it, I would say, is set in Korea, so you learn a lot about Korean history and Korean culture and just the life that people would live there. And then the family actually immigrates to Japan, which comes with a whole set of hardships yet again, because the tensions between Korea and Japan were still so high. So yeah, very fascinating book. I will say I am quite glad that I listened to it rather than read it, because it is quite the long book. And though it is very interesting, it's not like super captivating. Like, it doesn't have like the most interesting, crazy plot points like other books do. This is really just like a retelling of, a multi-generational family. And if you're interested in learning more about Korean and Japanese culture and history, then definitely give that one a read. I really enjoyed it. And the last book I actually finished this morning, and it made the Booker Prize long list, so I'm sure you've heard about it by now. And it's the book James by Percival Everett, and it basically follows the story of Huckleberry Finn, but this time it tells it from the perspective of James, a slave who ran away. And it's set like right before the Civil War. The book, again, is really well written. It was, super interesting, super captivating, and I just really love that now there's like this story available to us in a more modern way of writing. That is already, a huge part of classic American literature. So, that's all the books that I read and listened to in July. Again, I can highly recommend every single one of those. Let me know what you've been up to, what you've been reading, and what you recommend I pick up next. And until then, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave me a like and subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos. And have an amazing day.